Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here among great guests, fellows, partners, industry leaders, and change makers. As someone deeply invested in the progress of women and women entrepreneurs, specifically in the MENA region, I'm thrilled to host today's session. Our focus today is nothing short of crucial: the intersectionality of women, technology, and finance in this rapidly evolving fintech landscape in Bahrain. As we all know, Bahrain stands as, I would say, unique microcosm in the global fintech arena, contributing to an impressive 70.2% of its GDP to financial service industry. Bahrain is fast becoming a hub of innovations and growth. Notably, the nation has adopted a lot of progressive regulations, provided funding mechanisms, and established platforms to foster an environment conducive to the sector's expansion. But what does this landscape look like for women? How are they navigating challenges, leveraging opportunities, and most importantly, how are organizations aiding or impeding this progress? These are some of the questions we need to tackle today. Thank you again for joining us for the conversation, which made possible with the backing of the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain and definitely our valuable partner, Bahrain Fintech Bay. We're privileged here today to have a stellar lineup of panelists. I'm sure we will learn a lot from them. I'm sure I will learn a lot, and I'm looking forward to this. We started with Noura Nusuf. She's the head of corporate affairs and brand and marketing for Standard Chartered Middle East. Noura has a wealth of experience in corporate communication, digital engagement, and sustainability. With over 2 decades of experience in finance, telecom, and branding, she's responsible for a wide array of functions from strategic planning to public affairs across the Middle East. She joined Standard Chartered in 2012 and has since been an instrumental figure in shaping the bank's brand and outreach strategies. Next, we go to Badr. Badr Satter, he's the CEO of where you are right now at Fintech Bay, and a true advocate for fostering innovation for startup ecosystem. With a strong background in business development and investment, including work at C5 and Bahrain's Economic Development Bank, Badr brings a well-rounded perspective on financial technologies. He also serves now as a venture partner at Silicon Valley-based Rise Capital. Pardon me. Batul Al-Khaja, she is the Director of Public Policy at Rain Management. It's the region's first licensed crypto asset brokerage platform. So impressive, especially nowadays. Batul brings over 2 decades of regulatory and policy expertise, notably in the banking and financial sector. She has held leadership roles in the Central Bank of Bahrain and the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, contributing to definitely significant and various national policy frameworks. Thank you, Batul. Last but not least, our last year and this year mentor, a great supporter of the Women Fellowship, Jamal Fakhrou. He's the managing partner at KPMG in Bahrain with over 35 years of experience in advising clients across various sectors. He has led various cross-border engagements and is also a founding board member and chairman for the PEAR Initiative. Among his many, many roles, Jamal serves as the first vice chairman of Bahrain's Shura Council, and he has received the Sheikh Isa bin Salman Khalifa Medal for a second class. Thank you all for being here today. Just a quick run of show. The panelists will be answering a set of questions to give us a good comprehensive understanding of the situation. Then we will conclude with a Q&A session. You can go to askac.org to submit your question, especially if you're online. All right. So I'll start with you, Badr. You've been deeply involved in shaping the fintech landscape in Bahrain. Can you provide us with an overview of the current state of fintech in Bahrain?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the introduction. You're very kind. I think that the ecosystem in Bahrain is still relatively nascent in terms of because our ambitions for where we want the fintech industry in Bahrain to reach to. Can you guys hear me? Well,
Yeah.
okay. Um, where we want the fintech ecosystem to Bahrain to go towards. We put the ambitions and our targets quite high, and we're always striving for development within that space. Now, if you look at the ecosystem in total, we're seeing that the banks and the financial institutions in general, Bahrain, have been quite strong pioneers in adopting fintech technologies and adopting change in terms of their structures and the way that they're offering the services to their clients. We're seeing that like lifestyle banking has been adopted quite heavily by the banking sector, and furthermore, what's been enabling them to do so are the regulations that we have in Bahrain. The regulations that we have in Bahrain has been a driver, in my opinion, for change in terms of the fintech and development of the fintech ecosystem. Now, when it comes towards the startups, we do have a small but growing startup ecosystem, and I think year after year, what we're seeing is founders of these startups and people who have been members of startups as they grow, they end up leaving the companies and then setting up their own spin-off companies, which is a good kind of initial kind of start of a growing ecosystem. So we're still relatively in an early stage from a startup point of view, but from an adoption point of view, from the banking sector, I think it's quite impressive.
Amazing. Thank you. Nora, I'll go to you. As you've been working in the finance sector for a while, what roles are women mainly occupying in the financial sector in Bahrain? And give us a quick review, understanding of the landscape of women in finance in Bahrain.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here amongst such an esteemed panel and speakers, and as well as the audience, and thank you so much for the introduction. Before I start talking about the role of women within the financial sector, I just want to take us a step back, especially for the benefit of our viewers across the cyberspace. The reforms that the kingdom has seen over the past 20 years has enabled women to have access to a lot of roles and leadership positions, whether in the legal sector, financial, education, or just across. So in terms of accessibility to education and services, this has been quite immense. Which leads us now to the reforms within the financial sector itself, and the desire to empower women, and especially putting them in leadership positions. So within the financial sector, we have 13% of the financial sector is made up of women. 34.6 or 35% of that are women in leadership positions or managerial positions. 17% of women are actually on boards as board members and directors, which leaves us with, there's a huge role of for improvement within the financial sector, whether it's in Bahrain, and I see Bahrain as as a leader within the region, especially within the financial sector, especially given the empowerment women enjoy here compared to our neighbors. So predominantly, Len, I think about 64% or so of women occupy back office roles, front-facing roles, from middle management to a little bit more junior.
Amazing. Yeah, we do see a lot of women in finance, but we need to have, as you mentioned, a more push towards moving them to women in decision making in finance. And we see that especially with our fellows when we're talking about financial inclusion and getting funding and everything, we do see a lack of women representation in managerial and on boards, and like it. I think the region can work on that. Jamal, back to you. You have a broad perspective on the financial and business landscape. So we're taking both perspectives. How do you perceive the impact of women's participation in fintech on, I would say, Bahrain broader economic landscape?
Well, thank you, Liz, and thanks for inviting me today to this lovely session with the young generation. I think all of them, they see me as their grandfather, so that's fine.
You're still young.
Microphone?
Yeah, mic.
It's on. But I'm a soft person. Anyway, no, I think you know, I have my own view when we talk about male, women and male, you know, men and women. I do believe really in Bahrain we have equal opportunities for male and females. And I was just thinking with myself and my colleague in the office, what to say when we start talking about women in fintech. You know, women are everywhere here in Bahrain, and fintech is only, as Badr said, it's brand new. It's just starting. So you will see whether it is male or female. It is really a very small, I would say, participation. But in general, and as Nora said, in general, we have great participation for women beside the men, simply because of the culture of Bahrain. We hardly see people differentiate between this job is for a male and that job for a female, especially when it comes to the soft skills jobs, for the back office jobs, for the front office jobs, but really not for the labor jobs. If you look into the government sector, I would say about 35-40% of the government sector are women. Go to private sector, 35-40% are women. If you go to health and education, 70% of participants are women. So really, we don't have that. Fintech will be exactly the same. When fintech become a major player in our market, you will see the women taking more places. I would say, I would expect more positions than the men. So I do see them coming up in a very strong way, and I do see them really taking a lead role. I do believe that fintech would suit women more than men.
Okay, and I'll stay with you for a minute. And what are like the trends that you're observing in terms of women's role in fintech nowadays, and like how can we leverage these trends to promote a greater diversity and greater inclusion of women, especially in the fintech industry?
Well, I'll come back to the same point. We are promoting Bahrainis, we are promoting workforce, whether they are women or men. We would not be giving any priority or preferences to male versus females. I'll give you one small example. We started this week or last week a program on low coding with Tamkeen, and the objective is to hire 130 Bahrainis to be trained in low coding in the coming 5 years. We have taken 10 so far. You won't believe 5 of them are young ladies, and I do expect going forward we'll have more ladies coming to the programming workshops and program, more ladies to come in than the boys. I feel that really fintech would suit female more than the males. It's a job that they can do anywhere, whether at home, whether in office, and would suit their lifestyle much more than the male. Besides that, I think we have, and this is statistics in Bahrain, the majority of our smart graduates are female than the males. Am I right?
Particularly in STEM.
STEM especially.
STEM, yeah.
Fantastic. And like we know there's a lot of initiatives that are within Bahrain, whether with the government or the private sector. They're trying to increase women economic participation and to increase women entrepreneurship because they are half of the society and like actually we should include everyone in the system. I think fintech, especially the intersectionality of like when we talk about financial, which we have a high, as Noura just mentioned, we have 64% of women in middle to junior positions within the financial sector, and technology, which is still a new environment. Well, it's not new, but newly including environment for women where it wasn't actually inclusive before, and now the whole environment is changing. So uh, there is a bright future for women in these two sectors. Now, Batul, you work in a very, very, very interesting and like advanced sector, which is the cryptocurrency and blockchain right now. So with your work, what do you think the status of women's participation in the cryptocurrency and blockchain industries in Bahrain?
First of all, I would like to thank Yulan, thank the council and Bahrain Fintech Bay for allowing me to be part of this panel.
I think you have to switch it on. You just have to test it. It's not working. No, let me just.
Yeah,
this
is working. This one's louder.
It's working. It's just you need to.
This one's we'll use one.
Use
Okay, thank you very much. I'm so proud to be part of this panel and to see all of these women entrepreneurs. It's so encouraging. Maybe one day you mentor me to do my own business. Yeah. As you said, Len, I work currently with Rain Management, which is the first licensed crypto asset broker in Bahrain and in the region. As Badr mentioned, the fintech in Bahrain led the path not only for companies in Bahrain, like Rain, for example, it led the path for crypto asset providers here in Bahrain and in the region. It opened the door. But I believe in 2017, when the co-founders came to the CBB, when I was there at that side of the game, when we met them, we were impressed with how punctual they are, how they were committed, and how they believed in the product that they have when there were no regulations. You remember, Badr, very well, when there were no regulations globally, just few regulations maybe, a little bit in the UK, a little bit in Singapore, but the Central Bank of Bahrain took the lead to come up with something. I always remember what the governor, His Excellency the Governor, told us. We have to be part of this. We cannot miss the opportunity. So really, it was that day, it was the co-founders of RAIN who played the role of public policy. They encouraged the most conservative regulator in the region, the Central Bank of Bahrain. They had to deal with the Economic Development Board. They had to deal with Bahrain Fintech Bay, with banks here in Bahrain. It was so tough and difficult for them at that time to convince all of these stakeholders who were crucial to their business. They cannot do anything without the entire ecosystem. That day, they successfully managed to convince all of these to get rules and regulations to be licensed in Bahrain and to serve Bahrain and the region. Now, I see RAIN, unlike maybe I have bigger numbers, like in RAIN, out of the total task force, we have 38% are women participation, and out of the leadership team, we are 50% that are handling leadership positions. And the amazing thing is that the core function of the platform, which is operations, including back office and front office, and CX, which is customer experience or customer service, these two functions are led by women in RAIN. So I see RAIN as an example, not only in directing the government or the ecosystem to be more aware about the crypto sector and to believe in its benefits and the power of it, but also in empowering the woman.
That is important, especially as like that's impressive. Having kind of a newer sector in Bahrain, with women being involved in it all along from the beginning in leadership position. You said like 50% in leadership in RAIN are women. That's impressive because as they are involved in leadership from the beginning, they will be able to be decision maker as the sector grow more and more. Now, I'll go back to you, Badr. I want to know what is the share that comes from women-led startups in the fintech industry?
So I think that's a challenging question, to be honest. Right now, I don't think that it is as high as we would like it to be, but we are working actively to grow the number. And with our partners like Standard Chartered Bank, where we have initiatives that have been going on for the past several years, looking at helping develop opportunities or helping support female-led founding companies, not just in fintech, but in a variety of different industries grow. And actually, I'm really happy looking out into the audience here, so many familiar faces from previous programs that we've run. And I think that's also something that we're super proud of at Bahrain Fintech Bay, that we've been able to have an impact to whatever degree on so many of these female founders. Now, I think looking forward into the future, there's a few different things that we need to kind of keep in mind, right? So yes, the number of females participating in fintech and in tech companies is less than males, right? What are the reasons behind that? I don't think that it is anything to do with organizational structures or based off of anything fundamental, right? I think it is more of a cultural decision that females need to take in terms of pursuit of becoming female founders. And I think that is something which in the past culturally we haven't seen as many technical or females going into technical fields in terms of coding and so on, but that's obviously changing right now, and that's something which we're very pleased to see that is evolving and that is growing. And I think moving forward, looking forward to a future, I think for females to be taking on more let's say impactful or leadership roles, one thing that needs to change, which I think we still have a little bit of a culture and within, is the way that female founders sometimes get perceived. And this is the feedback that I've been receiving from the females from the programs that we have, is that sometimes walking into meetings or meeting clients and so on, they don't necessarily immediately get the same kind of response that a male counterpart would. And that's something that, as a culture across the country, we need to be working harder to become more accepting, I guess, and not really accepting, but I think more open to the idea of female founders taking on leadership roles.
Definitely inclusion, and that's it. Like the representation in managerial position will make women feel more comfortable entering a room that they see people, they look like them as well. I think this is a problem also in the whole financial sector and technology sector separately. What if you put them together? Nora, do you see what other barriers? What kind of other financial barriers do you see women entrepreneurs facing, especially when they are talking to financial institutions? And what kind of solution, for example, Standard Charter is providing to make them feel at ease when asking for funding or applying for a loan or anything in between?
Thank you, Lynn. I just want to say, it's quite hard and challenging to identify specific challenges here in Bahrain because, as Jamal and my colleague panelists alluded to earlier, there aren't really barriers here in Bahrain because it's based on gender equality, and not necessarily in those words, gender equality, but it comes by default. There's no really any barrier in terms of for business or to enter a business or open up or be part of be a startup just because it's a male or a female or just because it's a female. If there's a barrier, there's a barrier in general for the population based on whether it's policy or a regulation or based on just access to loans and financial services. But just to give you an idea in terms of what the financial sector is now working hard to do is to provide accessibility or more accessibility to groups that previously found it challenging to have access to financial services or loans or opening up bank accounts. That doesn't just include women, it includes minors or individuals under the age of 18. It includes people past the age of 60 or past retirement age, quote unquote. So but some of the general biases or some of the general challenges that women as a group could face is, I will scratch out the access to financial services, but it could be work-life balance. For example, to be able to balance between life at work and life at home. But even that is also being addressed within the financial sector. Flexible working hours, working from home. For example, Standard Chartered just launched a 140-day parental leave, and it's not just for women or mothers; it's also for fathers as well. So we have fathers in the bank who want to. Who want to have kids now because they want to take advantage of that parental leave. But I mean, you see the point. The whole point now, and specifically, and maybe especially after COVID, this work-life balance has become more of a key factor in making the workplace a safer or a more conducive environment for productivity. And then the other thing is maybe a bias in terms of gender. We do tend to have within the financial sector, not in Bahrain, within the financial sector specifically, there could be what seems to be or what deems to be called a men's club. But even that is now being infiltrated by women. Yani, so we do talk about women issues and giving women access. There is the access, but I feel it's more about how women take these opportunities and push themselves to to be out there and to educate themselves. There's no, I don't believe there is a huge bias that can't be addressed. Now, from a commercial point of view, what we do in the bank, like all other banks, is we're trying to keep up with technology. And, there are no answers to all the questions out there in terms of what are we doing in terms of innovation, because there's no limit. The sky's the limit when it comes to technology and innovation. So we're trying to push our digitization agenda as much as we can, whether it's with cryptocurrency or AI, AR, the metaverse, so on and so forth. Digitizing services, making it completely open and accessible to individuals. Women, for example, who are on maternity leave can continue to have access to their businesses through these digital channels. From a community point of view, which is, there are two initiatives that we focus on. One is Women in Technology, which we've launched here in Bahrain in 2020 in partnership with Bahrain Fintech Bay, the Supreme Council for Women, and the Central Bank. Temkin joined us later on. But what this program specifically addresses is, trying to encourage more women entrepreneurs to move their businesses to the digital platform. And it's basically an incubation program, an accelerator program, where we take in applications and then we graduate them after an 8-week workshop. We also have another initiative called Goal, which could actually address what Bedr was earlier talking about in terms of, if women walk into a meeting and they're not given that attention or that basically importance. What we teach women at an adolescent age, basically leadership skills, life skills, how to basically gain confidence through financial literacy and other lessons and courses.
Definitely. So there is a social stigma on women and being in certain sectors and pushing them to have a safe job instead of being entrepreneurs. So we see that not just in Bahrain, we see that across the world, especially in the Middle East. Women still lack access to financial services because of inherited biases where the idea is that women will not be able to return their loans, but actually statistic has shown that women are more likely to pay back their debt than men. So that's one of them. It's a solution, like you mentioned, women in tech are very important to teach them how to give them solutions, to give them services on how can we move forward? How can we think about moving our businesses online to make it accessible to everybody to reach a wider market instead of just the local market? Now, Batul, do you see different kind of challenges that women face in, especially women entrepreneurs and professionals, they face in the crypto and blockchain industry?
I will really second what my colleagues mentioned about we in Bahrain, we don't have any difference between man and woman and in any sector. I can't feel any difference, and especially that opportunities are there. It is that I would just add something is that we need to come out of our comfort zone. Like, I will give you an example about myself. I spent most of my career in a stable place, which is the central bank and then the real estate regulatory authority, both which are semi-government, so it's a stable place. When I decided to join Bahrain, everyone was asking me, why you're going Batul? Why you're taking this risk? It's very risky. And yes, it is risky. And I agree, it is risky. What I was saying is that I want to leave some fingerprints for my kids' future. This is something that is happening, whether being it crypto assets or any other area within the financial technology sector. It's us who need to educate ourselves more, to read more, to be aware of the risks and the opportunities that are available in this sector, and to come out a bit of our comfort zone of having a career in a stable place or opening a business that is guaranteed. So it only depends on us, but saying if there is any obstacle, like in Bahrain or in the region, from banks or from the government, or I cannot see any obstacle. It totally depends on us and what we need.
Yeah, that's That's true. And in order for women to be able to feel safe to do that, we need like to create an enabling and supportive environment. I know a lot of initiatives that's going on, whether from Fintech Bay, Standard Charter, KPMG, even Rain, they're trying to create an environment where women feel that they can take this, what they call a risk, to become entrepreneur, to engage in different activities, to enter the tech sector, and to even enter the fintech sector. Jamal, I would love your perspective on this, and like how can like companies like KPMG, how can you contribute to helping women entrepreneurs overcome these challenges, whether it's in financial sector specifically or in the fintech sectors in general?
Well, after listening to Batul and to Nora, I don't think women have got any challenges here. It is the men who have got challenges here. No, I will go back to my first point. That really, I would say, women and men here receive or have equal opportunities. And I will tell you one thing. Nora referred to 20 years back, I mean, over the last 20 years. Yes, with the High Council of Women, there was much more focus today on helping women find their way in the business, in the community, and workforce, more than it used to be in the past. I'm not suggesting that in the past they were not having the opportunity, but I'm suggesting now there's much more focus on that. So I would say that the opportunities are there, equal opportunities are there, and certain offices, I can tell you, we at KPMG, we would always prefer to give an opportunity to a young lady to come to train, to work with us, than giving it to a male. I'm not saying it because of the sex card, but because I believe that in our profession, like the fintech, the female will have more focus on that work and will deliver better job than their colleagues, the male. They focus a lot, they concentrate better, they work harder, they are hungry for learning, and so on. I'm standing for election time. Yeah. I'll be the chairperson for the Bahrain Women's Association.
I like how you said chairperson.
So really, I want to say one thing, that we are so lucky in this community that we reached to a stage that today nobody would differentiate between a male or a female when it comes to an opportunity for work, for learning, for development, for whatever it is. Therefore, I believe going forward, you will see maybe in a year or 2 or 3, when the fintech business gets mature, you will see more ladies talking to you about fintech in Bahrain than the gentlemen. I don't know why, but I personally feel that this job, the fintech business, would suit ladies more than the gentlemen. I mean, let's talk today about online business. The small businesses here in Bahrain, we have most of the businesses run on Instagram. You will see the owners are young ladies more than the young boys. They are doing great job. They are entering into different markets. They are taking the risk, and really I can see them doing a fantastic job by reaching to everybody everywhere, and there is no hesitation to say, oh, I cannot sell this product for a male, I want to sell it for a female, I cannot deliver this product to his house. We don't have that in Bahrain. And I think fintech in general will help women to enter the business more than the normal physical requirement of a business. So maybe in 3 years' time, when you come back to us in Bahrain, you will see that really what we are seeing today is being reflected in our normal life.
That is true. And like we do see from our fellows, they have a lot of their businesses are online, and it's helping them reach not just people in Bahrain, they also reach people in Saudi Arabia and UAE. They're trying to grow their businesses by being online and not having a physical location. And I think fintech is it's the add-on. As the smoother it becomes, the more solution that we have, the more women are able to use it and include, especially women entrepreneurs, included in their businesses. Now, it's a question for everybody. Where do you see? I want to add to Jamal just mentioned that, but like, where do we see the role of women in Bahrain fintech sector is heading in the next 5 years? And what do you think are the major drivers for this change?
I can take a stab at that, right? I mean, for me, in my opinion, I think the main thing that needs to change, right, and for us to be able to see more women participating in the fintech sector moving forward in the future in Bahrain is, I think that women needs to hear more success stories from other women. I think that's one thing, right? And I think that one of the issues that we have is that there's just a lack of, not I'm afraid to say this, but there's a lack of bravery sometimes, right? So men sometimes are a bit more kind of risk averse, right? Prone to take risks, right? They will throw their life savings towards a dream project that they have. They will go, chase after something, a lot more than some of the females, in my personal opinion, from what I've observed. Because I think females in general are more cautious. They want to protect what they have. They're nurturing. They want to protect, and I think that sometimes puts them in a position where they end up not going after opportunities which they see because of the fact of them wanting to be in that position. And I think, I commend against Batul and others who have taken that decision to take such a big change in their careers and in their progression in the way that they want to move forward, because I think that is the kind of cultural shift and that needs to happen. And I think the only way that can happen is when more women talk about their experiences and share what they went through, and actually make it normal to talk about, we were afraid to go over, to take this risk, or we tried something and we failed, and it was okay because we tried again and then we did something different, and that taboo still needs to kind of get removed.
I'd like to add, I completely agree with what Badr was saying. With what Badr was saying, and that's why there is a huge need to start at an early age, maybe at home as well, to instill that confidence in women. Having said that, I see a huge transformation. I mean, we can see it through social media channels. Females starting, teenagers or even younger than that, being exposed to TikTok, Instagram stories, I'm afraid to say Facebook because that's a bit old. But I think when you're exposed to these Snapchat, when you're exposed to these social media channels, you're also exposed to personalities and influencers. Although we do, there is a bit of a stigma with influencers, but they're not necessarily bad. They're not necessarily a bad influence. They're not all in fashion or makeup, or you have those who give advice on finance, on mental well-being, on and different sectors and different themes, where now young girls are exposed to and listened to, and there's a huge transformation there where females are gaining more and more confidence. So I do see a huge change that as the generations grow older, that's what's going to take over. That stigma or that feeling of being small, not owning our space, is going to soon disappear because they're being taught now to own their space, own their what they're doing, and take more risks in pursuing what they want and desire in life.
Okay, no, we do.
She was
Oh,
shocked.
sorry. I missed something here. Sorry about that.
Okay, so
But,
it's my turn now. I would think that in addition to what the panelists said, I would like, of course, as Jamal mentioned, women will be definitely more going into fintech once they are more aware and once they because as Badr said, women are cautious when they take decisions, but once once they understand the thing properly, they will lead it. And I'm sure, as mentioned, women's role will be much bigger, whether in fintech or in any other sector. I would just like to see more educational, not only to university level and beyond. I would like something to go into schools, because nowadays our kids are learning about crypto, about virtual reality, about meta, about everything at an early age, even from the age of 9 and 10. So we have to prepare them and teach them about the risks, about the opportunities, which platforms to use, which platforms not to use. All of this will not only enable women and enhance women inclusion, it will also make these young people make wiser decisions, being male or female. So I would really like to see something that goes towards the younger generation, not only university students and beyond.
teach them young. Jamal, do you want to add anything?
Well, I don't think I can add more to what was said, other than I am really, as always, very positive about the women participation in development of Bahrain. As you know, we are going to celebrate in 5 years' time 100 years of education for women in Bahrain. That by itself tells you why we have so successful women leading in different businesses and different positions in the country, because we are way different than the others who have women education maybe 50, 60 years only. We will celebrate 100 years to come. Number one. Number two, I think the opening of our community, the ease of the community, the non-differentiation between male and female everywhere in the market is helping. You know, 2 years back, there was a change in the labor law. In the old days, since the labor law was written in 1976, there's an Article 15 which prevent women in working at night in certain jobs. 2 years back, we decided to drop that article. So today, every single job available in the market is available for women. And I'll go back to say that fintech, technology, accountancy, many of these jobs are much, in my opinion, much more suitable to women than men. If I go back 45 years ago, when we started the Bahrain Polytechnic School, in that school, the ladies were only going to the secretary college. When we opened the Bahrain, when they started engineering college, in the first year, we found more engineers ladies than engineers boys. There was a big change in the community. Today, I can see exactly the same. A big change in the community where ladies would prefer to go to fintech and technology more than the men. So I'm really optimistic to see that fintech and related services in Bahrain will be led by the young ladies we have here in this room and outside.
Great. I will ask the last question before we open the floor for questions from the audience. What role can the collaboration between like government and private sector play in fostering, I would say, gender diversity? Because I've been told we're not. It's a very diverse system, but how can this collaboration create a gender diverse sector in fintech?
Can I answer?
Yeah, go on.
Oh,
Speak on our behalf.
oh.
I think
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, never mind.
We can hear you.
That's
okay,
okay.
hear you.
I think where the private sector can contribute is share best market practice with the public sector, sharing policies that at least share policies that are already embedded within an organization. Especially if it's, for example, an international organization, because they've already been there, done that. They've gone through markets. They've picked the best from each community and amalgamated them into a set of policies. These things can be shared with the public sector, and in turn, the public sector can also assist with their rules and regulations in pushing for advancement of training, development, research, mentoring programs. I think because that all goes into the development of the individual, whether it's male or female. So this is one aspect I can think of.
I just wanted to just add one small point, or it's just a small plug of. We had one previous participant in one of our programs. She launched a platform which is called Playbook, which is a masterclass, let's say, foundational audio and video sessions designed to support females to take on more leadership roles. And she interviews very successful Bahraini females in different roles, right? And allows them an opportunity to share how they became successful and how they were able to grow their companies, right? And for me, I think it's those types of initiatives I really do encourage. I think that the female founders, not just here but also everywhere, this type of content is really important to push forward.
All right. Yes, let's take any question from the audience because we do have question also online. So
thank you very much for the invitation, Lynn, and the Atlanta Council, and thank
I
you
know
all.
Doris' voice.
And thank you very much, panelists, for a great presentation. Again, I would like to congratulate your team, especially the Fintech Bay, for out showcasing the new wonderful, talented females and obviously male Bahrainis. And when you spoke about Playbook today, Playbook is one of the finalists in the Women in Tech Global Awards, because I'm the Ambassador of Women in Tech Bahrain chapter, and we have two. We have Dina Sam'an, which I think you forgot to mention. She was the first for the coin Mina. I think yes. She was also in Fintech Bay, and she was the first to get a regulated license from CPB for cryptocurrencies and assets. So we do have, as you said, Your Excellency Jamal, we do have Bahrainis who are outstanding, and we need to always showcase them. Second of all, there's another statement, I'm not going to quite question. When you talk, because I'm also passionate about education, because I'm education tech for my project, Batul, we do have in the private sector a lot of clubs, what we call STEM clubs, and they do have hackathons, and they have these projects in place. Maybe what it has to be done is that the private and the public work together. Exactly. So this is where we can reach out and help in that perspective. But in terms of paving the way, no, I salute the government of Bahrain. They've been paving the way for all sectors and all industries, and it's up to us to work hard and identifying ourselves, which we do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Hi everyone, once again thank you very much for the lovely presentation. I just want to pick up on something that Batul you said that resonates very closely to where I am standing right now. You mentioned of taking the risk from going in, from a stable organization and moving into a more fintech risky role, what is being perceived as risky. So having worked in more traditional banking organizations, I moved on to a fintech. So getting in there is a transition itself. But how would you, deem excelling in these organizations? What kind of soft skills, technical skills would you recommend that someone needs to kind of, really sharpen and in order to excel in these roles? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. See, nowadays I can say that everyone can learn everything online.
Yeah.
I would not really say there is this course here, although there are good courses. One of the things that I attended also was the Georgetown Fintech program that was also provided by Bahrain Fintech Bay. It was a very good base. It is a very good base for fintech and entrepreneurs. But also there are a lot of online material, whether on YouTube or on multiple websites. So I would again say it is us who need to educate ourselves, and it is the passion. If you like it, you will forget all the risks and you will continue. So it is all about this, and high risk comes with high reward. So hopefully we will all be rewarded for that. And it's also nice to have your, as I said earlier, your fingerprints and something that will continue to the future.
I'll just add one word here. I think defining what training you need to have, what learning, you will always need to have a mentor next to you. Somebody that you believe in, that is your role model, to go either to ask him or to see what he have done, to copy him. So let's try not to do it ourselves. There are so many mentors available on the island whom you can go and approach and just ask them. I think this will shorten the distance of learning, rather than doing few courses that you don't need, that you will go to the right courses to do. So you can ask her to.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for a very interesting discussion. I have the privilege of heading up the Royal University for Women here in Bahrain. So this is very relevant to what we're talking about today. I'm very interested to hear your views on, we are providing the products that go into this industry later, or any other industry actually. How can we work more closely with the fintech industry to build in the desire, the passion, the skills, the awareness even, for this young generation? Because believe you me, at 22, they have no idea what fintech is and what the opportunities are. So it would be very useful to get an understanding of how that might work.
I'll give you a chance. I'll give you a chance to answer, but I think what's we're working on a few projects which specifically look at that, right? So I can't go into too much detail right now, but I think at some point we need to sit down and have a discussion specifically about that, because we're looking at
That's why I'm here.
We're looking at working very closely with universities and
last year, remember?
we have, but we're looking at formalizing. We're looking at formalizing a structure where we bring in universities and we bring in fintechs and we include training and very, very specific support to convert that knowledge for the students. And also, we have a mandate for that, which is going to be female-led, or at least 50% participation for female for that program. So that's something which we definitely want to, speak to you a little bit more about.
It's actually a very interesting question, because this is something that we have been trying to address within Standard Chartered, specifically. I'm sure other banks as well. I mentioned earlier the younger generation's accessibility to social media and social media influencers, and I think there is a misconception that how do we make more money or faster money? Unfortunately, that, and I'm talking in general here, I'm not, and it might be a small percentage, that allowed for a specific generation, a much younger generation, to perceive, work. We don't need to go to a 9 to 5 job, desk job, or what Fintech offers as well. You can work from home or anywhere in the world and still be productive. However, the work ethic is what can get lost in the process. And what we're finding within the bank is the perseverance of individuals from that generation to stay in a traditional or standard banking job, because they don't want to do the hours, which is fine, because we have working from home policies or flexible working hours. However, I think there needs to be better collaboration between the financial sector and the education institutions. I mean, I would go a little bit further and work with the Ministry of Education, because it needs to start at a much younger age, where we need to instill that work ethic, financial literacy, financial education, and then build that generation to be more adaptive to change, especially with technology and Fintech. And then with the university would have to harness those the talent and abilities to take them further, rather than just staying at a basic sort of level or a foundation level. I think right now, I have nephews, and I have a 5-year-old nephew who just wants to do everything digitally. And I'm assuming, we all share similar, kids, have similar kids that we know, who can easily fix the phone settings, or send a message, or identify something on TikTok or YouTube way faster than us. And that's a skill that we need to take advantage of and move it in the right direction, rather than just watching stuff and influencers or stuff like that. So we have a huge opportunity, and that's why I say we need to start at a younger age. But to answer your question, I think universities can talk to banks and see what needs they have for the work within the workforce, because the banking industry is an amazing platform to start a career, and to learn how to learn the work ethic and working hard. Because like Batul said, and like all of us, we're not here just because we woke up one day and we got our positions and titles. We worked really hard.
True. That's so true. I'm sorry to barge in. We're way past our time, and I want to respect the time of the panelists, the participants, and everyone included. I want to thank you all. I want to hand it over to Nibras Basitki. She's gonna kill me now. She's the program assistant for the Empower Me initiatives, and she will be delivering our closing note. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining us today on this important conversation on how the impact of Fintech on women's financial inclusion in Bahrain. Today, as Badr and many of our experts mentioned today, that the sector is growing rapidly in Bahrain and contributing significantly to its GDP. Throughout this conversation, we heard from our experts that the ways that the government itself and the private sectors, and from the government to the private sectors, from individual levels, what is being done through initiatives and different aspects to further promote women in this sector, especially women entrepreneurs. As Badr mentioned, there's still the country has been very successful in adopting fintech, but there's still much more room left to empower the women entrepreneurs and allow them to have the opportunity to further gain from this industry. Additionally, our experts mentioned the challenges that women continue to face, including lack of access to leadership position and lack of women in leadership position in the sector, access to resources and education, as well as the ability to further enhance and the opportunities, grab the opportunities that are handed to them. I hope you walk away today from this session with very important policy discussions and takeaways, such as to further promote women's inclusion, such as the collaboration between government and the private sector, developing the educational sector to further include women and many others to be so they can be able to promote to this sector, and also encouraging more women to join the sector and create an environment for them to thrive in it. We here at the Atlantic Council, as part of the One Fellowship team and the Empower Me initiative, we are committed to this, and we facilitate such discussions and policy papers to further promote this cause. I want to thank our sponsors, the Bahrain U.S. Embassy in Bahrain, and our panelists and participants today for joining us. Special thanks to Bahrain Fintech team and the Atlantic Council team for making this event possible. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.